than some other countries where community TV has become established. The way in which some other countries deal with the regulator and the government is by forming a national association. And there may be value in thinking about establishing a community television association of Thailand in order that you can actually deal as one voice dealing with the NBTC and also the government over policy matters. And you would need to seek the view of the NBTC, but often the regulator finds it easier to deal with an industry body than deal with a whole lot of individual applicants. In terms of the issues, I think you've really canvassed them very well. It seems to me, though, that one of the critical things that we need to think about, particularly in the start phase, is what is the best legal form for a community television station. The legislation, as we heard from the head of legal this morning, gives us some options. We can be an association, we can be a foundation, we can be some other juristic body in Thailand providing it's not a government agency, or we could be a group of just private citizens. And the thing that drives many successful community television operations is that it's driven by its members. So I'd encourage you to think about the best legal form that gives the power of your television station to its members, to the volunteers, who would elect the board, and then at the annual meetings, or meetings more frequently than that, would determine the budget and the broad programming philosophy and how the station should operate. In my view, I think the best legal form for a television station, a community TV station, is an association, because that, under Thai association legislation, enshrines the right of individual members to control the entity, to control the organisation. Whereas the other entities don't have to be driven by a membership base necessarily. And the notion of a group of private citizens actually running a community television station, in my view, is a bit of a legal nightmare, because it means that each one of those citizens, say there's 5, are each individually liable for all the content that goes out in that station. And so they could get sued for the whole 5 of them, one by one, would get sued for any content that someone else is putting out on the station that they've got control of. So I'd be very careful about that option. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'd be very careful about it. So the first thing to think about is, before you even go down the license path, is what is the best legal form that is going to make our community TV station perform the best in terms of reflecting community interest. And I've suggested to you that perhaps you should start thinking about the form of an association. And then the second thing I think you picked up in the discussions is the issue of how the community TV station should run. You need to appoint a board. In an association, the members would appoint that board. In a foundation, the foundation can appoint other members to the foundation. But you need to think how the station would run. Typically, because of the financial constraints, I think we're going to be limited in terms of the revenue base of our community TV stations. And it's most likely that many of us, most of us, will be volunteers. We might be able to hire one person if we've got some money. But we need to think of the possibility of hiring no one. In other words, no one gets paid, and how that would run. There needs to be a station coordinator, or a station director, or a station manager, call them what you like, whether they volunteer or whether they get some money. because somebody's got to control the whole operation, and that coordinator should be responsible to the station board. The station board's role is to formulate the policy, and the station director's job is to run the station on a day-to-day basis. Make sure all the volunteers get opportunities to contribute, that everyone is trained and equipped and are happy. It's a big task. I've done it, and it is very satisfying when it goes well. It can be a bit of a nightmare when the pressure's on. But that's the lifeblood of running one of these community enterprises. So I think you've picked up a lot of the key things. Clearly, sustainability is a big ticket item for us. It's how we're going to run. That's why I asked the question of the head of legal. You know, is there the possibility of recognising commercial donors? And there may be a window of opportunity there for us, even though it's quite restricted. But to get the revenue to keep going is going to be a big, big challenge, because the range of options isn't as great as in some other countries. So well done so far, and I think they're the critical things that I think we need to think about.
Thank you. And Wayne, do you have any comment?
Thank you. And again, to echo Dr. Green's comment, we were right on. I think the fact is, as we've heard this morning and yesterday, the fact that two things sort of come out, the issues of sustainability and this sort of overarching issue of independence, which ties in completely with the governing structure of the organization. Again, having a strong board of directors, having a strong governing structure is vital for your organization. You want to be around for decades, for generations, and a board will get you through both good times and bad. And getting it right from the start and be able to, again, reflect the communities that you serve, that you've said again and again, is vital for your organization. And a good board of directors can do that. And it ties again back with this issue of sustainability. We've heard it at every turn during the last day and a half. And the fact is that that sustainability from the federal level it doesn't sound like it's going to be there. There might be some dollars, it sounds like, from DPC. There might be some startup dollars, and I think that absolutely should be looked at as a way of getting started, but as an ongoing, sustaining revenue source for the organization. You shouldn't rely on that. I would not rely on that. And I think that the issue of what are the different ways that you can bring revenues into your organization, and that can vary by service area, is something that has to be listed. And it's sort of like a menu put together that you select in your area what makes the most sense. Is it donations? Is it underwriting? Is it capital support? Is it in kind? What are the different elements that go into that? So it's, again, a good board of directors can help on that front. And I would say, again, we've talked about regulation. We heard that this morning. From my point of view, the least amount of regulations we have from the federal level, the better. We need to have some. You've seen some difficulty in community radio here, where it's, as we say in the U.S., a bit of the Wild West, where thousands of unlicensed stations are out there creating interference with each other and difficulty from a technology standpoint. And so having the federal government step in and be able to go through the licensing process is important. But also considering that, again, from our perspective in the United States, the authority really should reside at the local level as much as possible, because that's where the expertise is of what's going on in your provinces and your communities, and how best to serve the communities that you're in. And again, I think it all gets back to that governance structure. So as little regulation as possible, if I can make that point. And again, looking to your provinces and your service areas to support you as much as possible. They should become excited about community media. You should be showing them and sharing with them the value of what you're going to be bringing that they've never seen before. And again, if you are able to express that value, I believe you will also have financial support as well as political support for your organization now and in the future, and that will lead to sustainability. So again, I've seen some amazing work and some amazing creativity in this room. So I applaud all of your efforts in challenging times, but it sounds like you're ready to go. And I again, look forward to seeing you all getting there. Thank you.